Hi all, today we are going to put everything together and start solving multi-step equations that involve distributing, combining like terms, and then when we have variables on both sides. So in our binder that we should be having out, because we're going to be taking these notes as I make this video, is we are on page 17 and 8, or excuse me, we're on page 16. All right, so just on the back side of where we took notes yesterday. All right. So we are going to put everything together. First, I just want you guys to feel comfortable with this type of like scale model. Okay, so we have this scale, and on one side of this scale, we have two x's, and we see 6 little ones, so I see plus 6. Okay, and that is equal, because the scale is even, to negative 2 x's. And I see 2 little negatives, so negative 2. Okay? So I want you guys just to pause the video real quick and try to solve this equation however you guys want to, and then hit unpause whenever you guys have an answer, and then we will check just to see how we feel about what we talked about yesterday. All right, so I hope everybody tried this problem. We're going to solve it real quick. Okay, so I'm going to move this negative 2x, and the opposite of a negative 2x is a positive 2x. Because a negative 2 and a positive 2 would make a 0, so those x's have now disappeared. So I can drop down the negative 2. Okay, I put these on top of each other because 2x and 2x makes 4x. Okay? And then I'm just going to drop down the plus 6. All right, then I'm going to move the plus 6 with a minus 6. Again, because a positive and a negative make a 0, which is what we wanted. Then we have negative 2 and negative 6 added together, which would make a negative 8. Then we will just divide by what we see. So x equals negative 2. All right, so that is what I got. All right. So now we have these 3 problems that we are going to do together just to make sure we feel comfortable with everything, okay? So when I first look at this, the first thing we always need to see is, okay, we have parentheses. We want them to disappear. There is a number attached to the parentheses, so we are going to distribute or multiply that number attached. So we're going to multiply 3 times 2 and get 6, or 6x. And then we're also going to multiply the 3 times the 1, and 3 times 1 is a positive 3. So on the left-hand side, I have 6x plus 3. Okay. Then on the right-hand side, I still see another parentheses with a 5 attached, so I'm going to distribute the 5 to the x and get 5x. Okay. And then I'm going to distribute the 5 to the negative 4 and get negative 20. So we just distributed and we got 6x plus 3 equal to 5x minus 20. All right, now I'm going to look at the left-hand side. I can't put those together. I look at the right-hand side. I can't put those together. So now I just need to basically solve this equation by getting a variable on one side. Okay. So I see this 5x. I don't want that there. I want it over here. So I need to do the opposite. So the opposite of a positive 5x is a negative 5x. I'm going to write the same thing over here. Okay. Because a positive 5 and a negative 5 would make a 0. So that's how we're making it disappear. So I drop down the negative 20. I drop down the positive 3. And then we just have this math problem, 6x minus 5x, which would be 1x. So now the equation is now 1x plus 3 equaling negative 20. All right, so now we just basically need to get this x isolated. So we have this positive 3, so we're going to subtract it away. A positive 3, negative 3 make a 0. Okay. Negative 20, negative 3 added together, which would make a negative 23. Okay. Now we do have 1x, so the answer is negative 23. Okay. But for good measure, if you feel comfortable, I mean, you could always just divide by 1, but you will get this as your answer. So x is negative 3, and we just solved our first multi-step equation. All right, this next one, we have some parentheses. We have a lot going on. So first, let's just get rid of the parentheses. So first, I'm going to see, okay, here's the parentheses. There is a 12 attached. So I'm going to distribute the 12. Okay, I'm going to distribute to the x and get 12x. then I'm going to distribute the 12 to the 3 and get a positive 36. So I just made this simpler by making it 12x plus 36. Now me personally, I'm just going to drop everything else. Okay, I didn't do anything with the right-hand side yet. You could have if you saw it, but that's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to look at the left-hand side, and I'm going to ask myself what I can combine together. Okay, so I see a 6 and I see a 36. Those are just regular numbers. They're on the same side of the equal sign, so I can put those together. And 6 plus 36 would be 42. So I have 12x plus 42. Okay, now on the right-hand side, okay, I see a 7x and I see a 6x. Again, they're on the same side of the equal sign, and because of that, I can combine them together. 7x and 6x would make an 11x, and I'm just going to drop that plus 30. All right, so now I have 12x plus 42 equals 11x plus 30. Now I need this x to be on one side because I've combined everything that I could. So the opposite of a positive 11x is a negative 11x. So make a 0. 12x minus 11x would be 1x. 1x plus 42 equals 30. All right, so then from here, I'm going to get rid of the 42 with a negative 42 or subtraction. 30 with a negative 42 would make a negative 12. You can divide by 1 if you need to, but because it was 1x, that is the same thing as just regular x. So x equals negative 12. All right, we're going to do one more problem. Okay. Again, I see two sets of parentheses, and so we are going to have to distribute first. Okay. So this problem right here, we see a 1/3 being multiplied by 6x plus 9. So I'm going to distribute 1/3 to 6. So you can do 1/3 times 6, and you would get 2, so 2x. And then we're going to do 1/3 times 9, and we'll get 3. Again, if you're using your calculator, you're typing in 1ABC3 times 6, and then 1ABC3 times 9. And that's how I'm getting those numbers. Okay, I'm going to drop down the 5 because we didn't do anything with the 5. Okay. Now over on the right-hand side, we see this negative sign, then parentheses, and x minus 4. So we've been talking about how this is basically a negative 1. Okay? And we can distribute a negative or a negative 1, both of them mean the same thing, to parentheses. So negative 1 times x, which would be negative 1x. Then negative 1 times negative 4, which would be positive 4. And I'll show a positive with addition. Okay, so now we have no parentheses, which is good. Okay, so now we are going to look at the left-hand side and see if we can combine anything together. Okay, so I see a 3 and I see a 5. So I'm going to put 3 and 5 together and make 8. I look over on the right-hand side. Those are not like terms, so I'm just going to drop them down. All right, now we need our variable on one side. So I'm going to move this negative 1x. The opposite of a negative 1x is a positive 1x. Again, I'm showing a positive with a plus sign because we are adding. A negative and a positive would make the 0 that we needed it to be. Okay, then we have to drop the 8. 2x and 1x would make 3x. Okay. Now we're going to move the 8 with a negative 8. Okay. 4 minus 8, or 4 plus negative 8 mean the same thing, and we would get a negative 4. Okay, the final step is to divide by 3 because we would get a 1x. Okay. And negative 4 divided by 3 would be negative 1.3 repeating. Again, we don't love decimals. They're fine, but especially repeating decimals, they are really hard to type in. Okay, so an easier way would be just to hit second, PRB, okay, and you would get negative 1 and 1/3. Okay, So that's how to make it a fraction. If you like improper fractions, which we will start to love improper fractions, if you hit second ABC, okay, you would get x equaling -4/3. All of these are the same exact answer, okay? Now, this answer is what we'll get kind of used to because we're going to be doing a lot with fractions and ratios and rates this year. So I hope that we can start feeling comfortable with this, okay? Or at least feeling comfortable with making them back into a fraction. All right, so today, guys, there is going to be a Google Slide activity that should be assigned to you on Google Classroom. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.